are off.
They perform all of these things. They have a radio show every month. Their Christian support is honest.
Everyone in their seat will go ahead.
Before we welcome our poets, let's remind ourselves to show our appreciation for each poem when they are done. Let's welcome payne, Sheri, and Rob Love. Let's give them a round of applause.
How y'all doing today? Is everybody here?
Yes.
Somebody say it. All right. First thing all, let me say how much of an honor and pleasure it is to be here speaking to you. We were gracious enough to have a brief tour, and this place is amazing, so I know that you all are a reflection of the purpose and the foundations of this place. I'm talking to a remarkable group of people, people that I feel like will understand exactly where we're coming from, even though we have probably different pieces that we're going to, with very different people, we have different introductions, and I'm speaking to a group of people that can relate. So, as my brother said in the introduction, my name is Rob Love. I'm a poet and an author. I've worked with youth throughout the city, Juvenile Detention Center. I used to work for the Kansas City Public Library. I used to work with really small kids, 3 to 5. It's kind of hard to keep their attention. But I promise you, that's a really good practice for when you do poetry. I sing. I write about all kinds of things. How many writers do we have in this room? Raise your hand if you are. How many people in this room love to read? That's pretty good. All right, so that's kind of what my background has been. When I was younger, I loved to read. That eventually turned into like a stepping stone for writing. And now I write about all kinds of different things. I write about the things I see in my community. I write about family. I write about less than flattering incidents in my life. Sometimes it's good to just get it out on the page. Hopefully we do something here that inspires you to write. And above all, from my perspective, that gets you to a point where you can tell your story with confidence. You're the only person who can tell your story, right? And something in your story can help somebody else in ways you wouldn't even imagine. So that's just a little bit about me, what I try to accomplish when I write. Is it okay if I perform a piece for you? That is over here, right? Okay, so considering that this is Black History Month, I wrote a piece several years ago called Motherland Black Skin. And the basis of the piece is just to document the incredible history of African Americans. And beyond that, people of African descent. It is an incredible story, but as it turns out, much of that story gets it's kind of hidden. So I wanted to write a piece that talked a little bit about everything that's happened up to this point. So hopefully you all will like it. It's called Motherland Black Skin. Our motherland and this black skin holds something beautiful and magnificent. Like what King Tut was raised in ancient Egypt with during some of his childhood days. Or what the likes of he, Akhenaten, Hatshepsut, and Nefertiti, and all the other African kings and queens used to lead their people in so many ways. It has to be something that makes African civilization the greatest this world has ever seen. It's what gave Imhotep the power to concentrate, the Dogon, the power to map star constellations, and the Moors, the boldness to explore this world. It has to be something deep in our bones, embedded in our chromosomes, something implanted in our hearts. I like to think it's a piece of the original motherland, a deep purpose. Because in this world's existence, we play one of the bigger parts. It has to be something magnificent, extraordinary in our minds. But when we look at history, to the point where we were brought here to this country during slavery. When we were brought to this point in slavery, when many of our ancestors were brought over to America, where we've gotten the largest portion of wrongness, where we were hit with a ruthless double-pronged attack, we were hated for black skin, and because our oppressors lacked the will to live right. We make no mistake, it's an ancestral bravery that propels our everyday fight. That's why we rise in spite of, and for us to even be here is an awe-inspiring feat, and it reveals that spiritually, our ancestors couldn't begin to comprehend the meaning of retreat. Physically, God had to be coursing through their veins, to say the least. There were some rough demands they had to meet, like those shackles binding their hands and feet, those whips snapping at their backs, working day and night putting cotton in those sacks. Their bodies used to dangle from trees like strange fruit. On their knees to shine shoes, Jim Crow, black and blue from dogs and water hoses, political prisoners behind bars for facing the blade of injustice, us. Once convinced that we were just the stagehand to life's show, to now emerging as its worldwide stars and freedom, always seeming to escape and elude us. It appears our greatness is the hardest thing to prove to us, but when a backwards world has bruised you up, hiding your identity, essentially screwing you up, and illusion ends up being the only thing you trust. But all of that just works to mask the fact that even though someone says we won't, something deeper inside of us says that we will. Someone says we can't, and then we're instructed to be still, to get rid of and get our minds right, because no matter what we face, all signs point to an incorruptible light. A larger than human might that makes us refuse to let anyone, anything take our lives. And now, it's no surprise that we are our own biggest threat. And due to deception, our purpose often feels like our biggest setback and regret, so we disregard, undervalue, take each other's hope and each other's lives without thinking twice or even breaking a sweat. See, the misconception is that our plight stems from what we don't know, but it's really about what we've become too afraid to understand, frankly, that this plan has been preordained in us since our ancestors dwelled in the motherland, and yes, it has to be planned for us to rise and fall. And then finally, for us to be able to rise and stand tall, for us to want to hear the call of courage trapped in our struggle, for us to live like brothers and sisters again, for us to not be boys and girls, trying to raise our boys and girls and fortify our spirit enough to grow into men and women. See, we can't run from, hide, or deny it anymore. This is stored in our DNA, etched in our souls, and these facts will forever stay a factor in our heavenly role. So, the point is to be more than just proud, to be more than just angry about it, to do more than be obsessed with the past and what went on back then. The point is to be grateful for the utter honor and privilege of being chosen to wear this black skin. It's a little rough in the beginning, but y'all stuck with me. I appreciate it. So, I'm going to pass the mic because we have some extraordinary poets here too, but after we may have a little bit of time to do some questions. So if there's any questions that you have for me, any other poets, keep them in mind, and then after we all take our turns. Okay, good. So then we'll have some time for questions, but now I'm going to pass the mic to the next poet. She's going to introduce herself as well.
Hello. Hello. Oh, my bad. It's, microphone. Hi now. Okay. So we are here again to share the spoken word and also Black history. Can anyone tell me what Black history means today?
So Black history to me is the time where I get to, since I'm from this generation, it's the time when we start learning about like people who here before you had to deal with a lot of stuff and had to go through a time where like a time where there wasn't really the right time for it. And the time when you start gaining the knowledge of what the Black population.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Anybody else have something else for me? Someone got to have something. What you got? Well, aside from just being a poet, I'm also a minister, I represent, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and all this stuff, And at my church, I teach Black history, especially during Black History Month. And the struggle with Black history, a lot of times people do attribute it to things back then. So, if anything I can leave you with today is that you are Black history. Right now, this very second, you are Black history. You are making Black history as you go forward in life and someone asks you what you used to do, where you came from, and you'll be able to say, oh, my name is such and such, and I started learning about XYZ at Kauffman. And be like, wow, she went to Kauffman. I want to send my children to Kauffman because she's so exceptional, because he's so wonderful. So you are Black history, even with the things that you do right now, when you refuse to bow down to injustice, when you simply take a stand, when you decide to become smarter each and every day, you are currently Black history, okay? So, with that being said, and I am a poet and I am here to do poetry, I will do a poem called My Boy. And just to give you a little insight on that piece, this poem was written, and you will hear lots of examples of things that have happened through the poem. Every example of things that have happened occurred in the year 2000 and forward, except for one. Can anyone tell me what happened to Emmett Till? What happened to him? Pretty gruesome, right? Pretty horrible. Well, this poem, like I said, is going to speak about things that have happened that are also pretty horrible, but have happened again, like I said, in the year 2000 and beyond. And probably the only example that I use that's any older than that is that of Emmett Till. So again, this poem is called My Boy. Oh, and these things have happened to men and women. I just decided to put them all together in one book. The first day I saw him, looked at his beautiful, brown, tender and harmless, cooed and cried, swallowed, I protected my boy. And before I knew what he was for, those big brown eyes melt my heart, hugged so tight as if holding me was helping him to hold on to his childhood that with every heartbeat, it was fleeting my boy. Grown into a young man, charming as my boy, his charm. On life threatening, my boy We only enforce zero tolerance. Can't express strong opinions without sounding militant. Only celebrated as an 1800 slave of love or ignorance. Can't get knowledge about himself through public education. Only gets taxpayer funded reading material through incarceration. Can't drink iced tea in a parking lot or seek help without getting shot. Can't go to work without someone thinking he's out of place nor inspect the lane for his living space. Can't drive while black nor take out the trash. Can't raise his voice nor raise his hand. My boy denied his right to be a man. My boy can't show emotion after a game. My boy, your $40 million slave must behave a certain way. My boy can't walk to basketball practice without facing harassment from flatfoots on pavement, using probable cause as a basis, reach in his pants, his private cheek, grass, snake, twist, and pop. My boy will never grow to be a biological pop. She done messed up. My boy can't be disrespectful like those boys who flirtatious with worthless women. Can't be disgusting like those boys. You go tell their moms, my boy must be shot or hung as he is just a crow suitable for jimmying, must be tortured and exterminated at the fear of interbreeding. My boy can't go to the store at night like other teens, can't play his music loud like other teens. One minor infraction, he's dead on the scene. Prisoner in his own neighborhood is my boy. High risk for the potential man he is, and even as presidents will not respect him with the rightful title that is his. Make bumper stickers that say don't renege, refuse to work with him, wag their fingers in the face of my boy. Can't be great. Memorialized by metal statue, they will still laugh and tie a noose around his inanimate metal neck, expecting us to take lightly their disrespect. You call him monkey, jungle bunny, animal, coon, but I ain't never seen the likes of Peter protecting my boy. The nameless, faceless shape of forgotten violence. This one, man, is this here your boy? Yes. This is his beautiful, brown, mangled mess of flesh now, and I can't protect him. Swaddled in burial clothing, open my boy's casket. You come look at my boy. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Another round of applause to welcome these excellent players. So I just want to say that it is an honor to be here in front of me. My name is Payne, and how many people, or how many of you guys have a dream that you guys have been pursuing? Something that you already know. As soon as you grow up, as soon as you get out of school, that's what you want to do. That is awesome. So when I was about you guys' ages, what, 7th, 8th grade? 8. Ooh, yes. Okay. So when I was an 8th grader, I knew I wanted to be a poet. Like I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And so I took it seriously. And from just writing in my notebook, writing in my journal, I have gone from starting there to traveling the country doing poetry. So if you have a dream, I just want to let you guys know before I go any further. If you work hard, if you stay dedicated, if you don't let anybody, no matter what some people say, no matter what life throws at you, deter you or tell you that you can't, you can. Those who believe they can are always right. So if you believe you can, you can. That makes sense? All right, so let's get into the poem. We're here for Black History. That's why they brought us here. We're bold new poets. And I have a question. So this is another serious question. I like to ask questions when I'm in front of people and get a feel for my audience. Has anybody in here ever been teased for anything? Raise your hand. Been teased? It happens. Kids can be cruel. How about teased for something that you can't control? Yeah, I've been there too. When I was younger, I used to get a lot of flack for my hair. And so this poem that I'm going to do, like to the point where if I didn't look a certain way, I didn't leave out the house, I didn't want anybody to say anything about me. So it affected me a long time into adulthood. And I was like, one day I just had to come to a decision like, maybe I need to let this go. Maybe I need to not be so hooked on relaxers and be hooked on, I have to have weed. Now this is not my hair right now. But this is a protective style. How many ladies know about protective styles? You gotta keep it braided up. Keep it there you go, yes. I know that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So, but under here I am fully teen natural. And it took me a long time, a lot of years to accept that because especially anybody ever had somebody say, oh, I don't or when you don't get your hair done, when you don't get it straightened, and yeah, so I dealt with that struggle a lot. And I wrote this poem about my hair story is what it's called. And I'd like to share that with you guys. Is that okay? Yeah. All righty, so let's get it in. Childhood tots turned adulthood haunts. Not realizing at the time I would let the comments of schoolyard chums of mine define my divine. My crown of glory, my link to royalty, the kink of kings and queens in mothering lands. My roots were deeply disguised behind my juvenile sense of pride and their prejudice. So before I was even old enough to be considered a little woman, I developed a need to relax. Became an addict for a creamy crack in an attempt to attract the acceptance of a group in which I did not fit, all because my roots were thick. Like thighs and hips attached to bodies attached to ships on the middle passage. And in passing, I failed to see that wanting to deny the slave in my genes turned me into a slave to weave and flat iron. Heat damaging my self-esteem because no lie, I was a fiend for no lie and sodium hydroxide, and I couldn't wait to apply ammonium thioglycolate in hopes that my hair would wave like amber grain, but more times than not, it would just hang. Like the fruit from southern trees, strange how my skin tone is proof of my foremothers' rapes, yet the only thing that I could be concerned about was how my color did not match my make. And I couldn't quite articulate how much I was eating off a Jim Crow's plate with my self-hate, all because my hair wasn't straight and my roots were hard to penetrate like a segregated South. No, my hair was hard to pick out like Emmett Till after he was beaten for a sound that came out of his mouth. See, I fried, dyed, and blow-dried my hair until it had almost fallen out. I almost had a falling out with my image. I couldn't stare in the mirror if I saw one little kink, too afraid of what others might think, and my self-confidence would shrink if anybody said one little thing, because I wasn't concerned about Martin Luther King's dream about being judged by the contents of your character instead of that which was on the outside. And there would be times that I would cry. There would be times that I would stress, pause my entire life over the condition of my dress. But I decided that I had to let So I made a decision never to go back. Grabbed a pair of shears and gave my strands a hack, time traveled like clack, until I could feel my roots deep, thick, and ancient as artifacts, unable to be affected by the current trends of the time. And no, my hair will never be Hawaiian silky, but at least I can say it's mine. I am able to look in the mirror and collect the light from my own shine, while giving the Most High glory, because my roots are deep, thick, and ancient, just like my hair story. Thank you all for listening.
So, how are we on time? Okay. So, do you guys have any questions for us?
Question is, how was the group born?
Oh, that is a question for Mr. T.L. Williams, but I guess I can give a short history since he's holding the camera. What year was that?
2010,
11?
10 or 11, somewhere.
We've been rocking it for a long time. 2010, Mr. T.L. Williams decided that he was going to start promoting the interest of poetry and appreciating it as an art form that doesn't necessarily always have to be performed in a club or somewhere like that, and giving poets a platform. And not just like anybody else, there were already a lot of platforms here, but he decided to do his a different way, which I'm grateful for, because it has opened doors and given different opportunities. It started off with 12 poets. I remember being on the stage that very first show. It was like, what was it, May 21st, 22nd? May 19th? Okay, there you go, ma'am. Because I was late because I was running from another performance. But it was truly legendary to be with those other poets because I had never seen them before, which gave me an exposure to other people's art. So that's how the group was formed. Now we are officially at 68 members, something like that, somewhere in there. And it's not like it's a membership or a paid membership organization, it's more of an affiliation, where we know that we are BoldPoets and we can go out and we can perform under that name together. We now have hosted shows at Unicorn Theater, the Nelson Atkins, the, what is that theater name in the Crown Center? Screenland Theater. We performed, again, like I said, at the Nelson Atkins, at the state capitol to commemorate Malcolm X. We've gone a lot of places, and we also have a radio show, which I am host on KPRT 59, the Gospel Poets, the second Saturday, every month at 6 o'clock p.m. Bam, look at that. Look at that. I put that plug in there. Okay. Do you guys have any other questions? Yes.
What's your favorite poem that you guys have written? Like individual?
Oh, like my favorite personal poem.
That's a good question. I like a lot of the stuff that I've written recently. I've been writing for maybe about 5 years. And it's something I started out with has a very special place in my heart, but something that you'll find if anybody in this group starts to write seriously is you can kind of map your evolution as a person the more you write. And the stuff that I've written recently is just showing me how much I've grown, not just as a poet, but as a person. So there's a couple of pieces right now. There's one in particular that I titled Universe Dance. And I really like because I feel like it kind of documents my transition as a person and my evolution as a poet. So I'd have to say it's hard to pick one, man. So much, man. But I'd say that's the one that I'm really in love with at the moment. But that could change in a couple of weeks.
So I don't know that I truly have a favorite, since a lot of times when I'm writing, I am worshiping. It is worship, it is communion. Sometimes it is, and I know the difference. But a poem that I truly had fun with writing and entertaining and just reading of mine is called Great Poet. And it's because I'm goofy, and a lot of my writing is more serious. I'm goofy out here, but in my writing it's like very and that poem is not so harsh. It's more fun, it's more laid back while still saying facts and allowing me to listen to great answers while I do it. So I like Great Poet as my favorite. He did have a point. You see your evolution as a person and as a writer. And when I go back and look at a lot of my own writings, I get healed from it because I can see where I came from and the situations I dealt with.
Thank you for your question. As far as one specific poem being my favorite, I don't have one. I've been writing for years, probably for longer than some people I've been alive. I wrote my first poem at the age of 8, and I am now 26. So you guys can do the math really quick on that. And so to the point, by the time I turn 30, I have 2 years of writing experience. So I can't pinpoint one particular poem that I'm going to say, oh, that's my favorite. But I know that poetry and writing is my favorite activity. Coming and speaking to groups of students, be it younger than you all, your age group, high school, colleges, that's what I love to do. So I would definitely say that. Pick something that you love and then make that your favorite, whatever that is. Just doing that is the favorite, not just being part of it. All of it is. Next question. Anybody else have a question?
We have time for one more, great.
Yes.
How long does it take you to write a poem?
It really depends. It depends. There are some poems where if I'm really in the spirit of writing, I can sit down and have it done in like 5-10 minutes. There are some poems that I can do maybe an hour. There are some poems maybe might take me a few hours. There was one particular poem that had such a strong meaning on me that I started writing it and took a 2-year break and came back to it when I found it in a notebook. And it was only at that time that I was able to complete it. So it's not necessarily a set writing process. And if any of you in the audience have any ambitions of writing, be it poetry, storytelling, or whatever, never get into the habit of art has to be this certain way, I have to have this type of routine. Get into the habit of creating and let that be your process.
I can concur with Emiliana that I have certain poems that I actually have a folder on my computer and my tablet where I call it the marination folder because there's certain ones, number one, I would implore that you don't present incomplete work, incomplete work. You don't present incomplete work, and the poem is the person itself. Once that person is fully developed, then they're ready to come out and play. Be okay with something being undone and let it sit and marinate for a while until it can come back to you. So my writing process varies and
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for sitting here to the BoldPoets. Let's give it to BoldPoets. The BoldPoets, and I would like to personally thank you all of you all, for sitting here like young, mature adults. You guys are in 8th grade, you said? Alright, because we just said that we had some high school students and they did not sit here nearly as half as quiet as what you guys did. So I want you all to keep up the good work and just keep up the good work. And we'd like to say that Ewing, Marion, Kauffman, Ewing, Marion, Kauffman, you guys rock. Have a great day.